What if Barron Trump, yes, the son of the former president, decided to make an unexpected move that left everyone speechless? Imagine this. A heartwarming act of kindness from someone known for his quiet nature, a gesture that shocked not only his family but the entire world. What he did next will change the way you think about public figures. Trust me, you won't believe it. It started as just another night in New York. The annual charity gala, a gathering of movers and shakers in the world of philanthropy, had been carefully planned months in advance. But no one expected the presence of Barron Trump, the son of former President Donald Trump, to shift the focus of the evening. Barron was known for keeping to himself, preferring to stay out of the spotlight. He had rarely made public appearances without his family, and even then, his presence was often quiet, barely noticed. But that night was about to change everything. The event had gathered many notable figures from the world of business and politics, all dressed in their finest attire, making small talk while waiting for the evening's speeches and auctions to begin. As Barron entered the room, few gave him more than a passing glance, unaware of what was about to unfold. Barron, standing at over 6 feet tall even at his young age, had always seemed more reserved than his parents, who were no strangers to the public eye. His appearance in the spotlight often drew comparisons to his father, but unlike Donald Trump, Barron had stayed away from the cameras for the most part. It was his way of maintaining privacy, perhaps influenced by the fact that his mother, Melania Trump, had always been fiercely protective of his well-being and privacy. Yet, on this evening, something was different. As the event progressed, Barron quietly observed the interactions around him, noticing the same faces, the same speeches. It wasn't long before he grew frustrated. The charity's goal was noble, raising funds for children in need, children whose lives were marked by poverty and hardship. But Barron felt like something was missing. The speeches were impassioned, the donations rolling in from various sponsors, but it all seemed so transactional. The people in the room were generous, yes, but what about the children? What about the real impact? In a rare moment of clarity, Barron decided to take matters into his own hands. He wasn't going to let this event pass by as just another occasion where wealthy people patted themselves on the back for donating money. It was time for action. He stood up from his seat, causing a ripple of surprise among the crowd. At first, no one knew exactly what he was doing. Was he leaving? Making a speech? But when he took the microphone in hand, all eyes turned toward him. "I'm proud of what we've accomplished tonight," Barron began, his voice calm but filled with an unusual sense of purpose. "But I think we can do more." His words caught the room off guard. Most of the attendees knew him as the quiet Trump child, a teenager who was never much for attention. What came next was a moment that left everyone stunned. "I've been lucky in life," Barron continued, his tone shifting to one of sincerity. "But not everyone is as fortunate as I've been. And while donations are important, it's the children who need more than just money. They need opportunities, mentorship, education, a chance to see the world beyond their circumstances." He paused, the weight of his words sinking in. "That's why tonight, I'm making a donation that will match every penny raised here, and I'm going further. I've also arranged for these children to receive mentorship programs, opportunities to travel, and the resources to succeed. I've spoken to the organizations, and they've agreed to provide the tools they need." The room was silent for a long moment before murmurs of disbelief and admiration filled the space. Some guests looked at one another, unsure if they had heard correctly. Barron Trump? Making such a statement? It was uncharacteristic of the young man who had always shied away from the public. But here he was, making an unexpected, bold statement of intent. And it wasn't just about the donation. It was about the mentorship programs, the educational tools, and the promise of hope. Barron had gone beyond the typical donation and had chosen to invest in these children's futures in a way that no one expected. But the surprise didn't end there. To understand why Barron made such a move that night, we need to peel back the layers of his life and look at the experiences that led him to this moment. Barron Trump, like his parents, was thrust into the public eye from a young age. Born into one of the most famous families in the world, Barron's life was never going to be ordinary. He spent his childhood surrounded by the bright lights of New York, in the shadow of his father's political career, and at the epicenter of a global media frenzy. But despite all this attention, Barron remained remarkably private. His mother, Melania Trump, was fiercely protective of his privacy and worked tirelessly to shield him from the press. It was clear from the beginning that Barron was not interested in the fame or the wealth that came with being a Trump. While his siblings pursued careers in business and politics, Barron seemed to prefer a quieter life, one that was less about the spotlight and more about personal growth. As a child, Barron spent a lot of time with his mother, who instilled in him a sense of responsibility and humility. Melania, with her calm demeanor and quiet strength, was always a steady influence in Barron's life. She taught him the importance of kindness, of giving back to others, and the value of hard work. She always emphasized the importance of making a positive impact in the world, no matter how small it may seem. But it wasn't just Melania who shaped Barron's character. His father, Donald Trump, while known for his larger-than-life personality, had his own set of values that he passed down to his son. Donald Trump had always believed in the power of education, business acumen, and the importance of helping others. He often spoke about the need to be a leader and to take action when the time was right. Barron had absorbed these lessons quietly, without fanfare. Yet, it was Melania's influence that seemed to resonate the most with him. Barron's childhood was marked by travel, education, and private moments with his family, far removed from the media circus. Despite his public image, Barron had always been drawn to causes that focused on helping the most vulnerable. As he grew older, he started quietly involving himself in various charitable projects, but always without seeking attention. He volunteered at local shelters, worked on school projects to support underprivileged communities, and took part in initiatives that supported the education of disadvantaged youth. It was this quieter, more introspective side of Barron that led him to the decision to make his public debut in a way no one expected. When Barron stood up at that charity event and announced his donation and his commitment to mentorship for the children, it wasn't about making a statement. It was about giving back in a way that would have lasting impact. The quiet young man, who had never sought the spotlight, was now using his platform to create change, not just for the evening, but for the future. Behind the scenes, Barron had spent months working with organizations, discussing how best to support these children. His approach wasn't about grand gestures or headlines. It was about finding sustainable ways to help. Mentorship, education, and opportunities to travel were all part of his plan to create real change. Barron's generosity wasn't just in money. It was in his willingness to be part of a solution. As he walked away from the event that night, Barron didn't look for praise or recognition. He simply wanted to know that he had done something meaningful. And that, in the end, was the most surprising part of all. Barron Trump had proven that there was more to him than anyone realized. He wasn't just a quiet figure in the background. He was a young man with a mission to make a difference, one that was driven by empathy, compassion, and a desire to help those in need. What Barron Trump did that night wasn't just a random act of generosity. It was a quiet declaration that sometimes, the most impactful moments happen when you least expect them. Barron, who has spent so much of his life out of the public eye, chose this moment, not for a press release or a social media post, but because he genuinely believed it was the right thing to do. And that's what makes his gesture so remarkable. His decision to publicly commit to helping children in need went beyond money. It was about giving them a chance. Barron wasn't just writing a check. He was showing a path forward, offering mentorship, and providing the opportunity for these kids to experience things they never thought possible. For many, this was a pivotal moment, a reminder that kindness doesn't need to be loud to make a big impact. Sometimes, the quietest people have the most to offer. His actions reflect the true values he was raised with: humility, empathy, and a desire to help others without expecting anything in return. While some might have expected him to follow the usual route of being seen at glamorous events or using his name to gain fame, Barron has consistently chosen a different path, a path of substance over spectacle. But here's the real question. How often do we, as individuals, take the time to do something meaningful, to step out of the shadow of our daily lives, and truly make a difference in the world? Barron Trump has shown us that it's not about being in the limelight. It's about what you do with the platform you have, whether it's big or small. What if we all made more of an effort to give back, like Barron did? Imagine a world where we all decided to do something that could change the course of someone's life. It doesn't take millions of dollars or a giant stage to make an impact. Sometimes, it's the simple acts of kindness that leave the most lasting impressions. So, What would you have done if you were in Barron's shoes? Would you have made the same bold choice, or would you have stayed in the background? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below and share how you think we can all take a page from Barron's book and make a difference, no matter how big or small. And don't forget, if you're inspired by this story of unexpected kindness, hit that like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe to stay updated on more stories like this. What we've witnessed here isn't just an act of generosity. It's a lesson in leadership, humility, and the power of choosing to make a difference when it matters most.